Welcome back to A Veil of Crime, where we explore the darkest and most complex true crime cases from around the world. Tonight, we uncover a story that is as tragic as it is shocking. The life of Gypsy Rose Blanchard, a young woman trapped in a web of abuse, manipulation, and deception, whose desperate bid for freedom led to the brutal murder of her mother. This case raises haunting questions about control, victimhood, and justice. Now, let us pull back the veil on the story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. A childhood of illness and control. Gypsy Rose Blanchard was born on July 27, 1991 in Baton Rouge, Louisiana to Claudine Dee Dee Blanchard and Rod Blanchard. Rod, Gypsy's biological father, was only 17 when Dee Dee, who was 24 at the time, became pregnant. The couple briefly married, but Rod soon left, realizing that the relationship was unhealthy. Despite his absence, he remained somewhat involved in Gypsy's life. Dee Dee, however, took on full responsibility for raising Gypsy, and it was a responsibility that she twisted into a nightmare. From a very young age, Dee Dee convinced doctors, neighbors, and even her own family that Gypsy suffered from an array of serious medical conditions: leukemia, muscular dystrophy, epilepsy, vision and hearing impairments, and developmental delays, among other things. In reality, many of these diagnoses were fabricated or exaggerated. Dee Dee shaved Gypsy's head to mimic the effects of chemotherapy, forced her to use a wheelchair despite being able to walk, and subjected her to countless unnecessary surgeries and medications. Experts now believe Dee Dee suffered from Munchausen syndrome by proxy, a mental disorder where a caregiver fabricates or induces illnesses in another person to gain attention and sympathy. Dee Dee's manipulation extended beyond the medical community. She received free housing from Habitat for Humanity, charitable donations, trips to Disney World, and community support. Gypsy, meanwhile, grew up isolated, infantilized, and completely dependent on her mother. Life under Dee Dee's control. Gypsy's life was carefully orchestrated by her mother. Dee Dee controlled every aspect, restricting her friendships, education, and contact with her father. Gypsy was told she had the mental capacity of a 7-year-old, though in reality, she was intelligent and capable. Dee Dee homeschooled her to maintain control and exaggerated her disabilities in public. For years, Gypsy endured physical and psychological abuse. When she attempted to assert independence, such as trying to walk or eat solid foods, her mother would physically punish her. Medical professionals grew suspicious over time, but Dee Dee's charisma and manipulative skill often deflected deeper investigation. Meeting Nicholas Godejohn. As Gypsy grew older, she longed for freedom and companionship beyond her mother's suffocating control. In 2012, she secretly created an online account and joined a Christian dating website where she met Nicholas Godejohn. Nicholas, from Wisconsin, had his own struggles. He was diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and had a history of erratic behavior. Despite his challenges, he became the first person with whom Gypsy shared her darkest truth, that she was not sick and that her mother had been lying for years. Their online relationship quickly became intense. Gypsy confided in Nicholas about her abuse, and together they fantasized about a future free from Dee Dee. Over time, their plans turned darker. By 2015, Gypsy began urging Nicholas to kill her mother as the only way she could ever be free. The murder of Dee Dee Blanchard. On June 14, 2015, Nicholas traveled from Wisconsin to Springfield, Missouri, where Gypsy and Dee Dee lived. That night, while Gypsy hid in the bathroom, Nicholas stabbed Dee Dee to death in her bedroom. Gypsy later admitted she provided him with the weapon and gloves. After the murder, the pair fled to Nicholas's home in Wisconsin. Gypsy, in a mix of relief and fear, posted cryptic messages on Facebook suggesting Dee Dee was dead, leading neighbors to discover her mother's body days later. The brutal crime shocked the community, who had long viewed Gypsy as a terminally ill child and Dee Dee as a devoted mother. The reality that Gypsy had never been sick and had endured years of abuse turned public perception on its head. Some saw Gypsy as a cold-blooded killer, while others saw her as a victim driven to desperate measures. Trial and imprisonment. In 2016, Gypsy accepted a plea deal for second-degree murder and was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Nicholas Godejohn, who went to trial, received a life sentence without parole. During her incarceration, Gypsy expressed both remorse for her mother's death and relief at being free from her abuse. She described prison as less restrictive than life with Dee Dee, noting that for the first time she could make choices for herself. While imprisoned, Gypsy attracted significant media attention. Documentaries such as Mommy, Dead and Dearest and Hulu's dramatization, The Act, brought her story to global audiences. These portrayals sparked debate. Was Gypsy a victim, a villain, or both? Gypsy herself became an advocate for awareness of Munchausen by proxy and domestic abuse, using her platform to educate others about the signs of such manipulation. Life after prison. After serving 8 years, Gypsy Rose Blanchard was released on parole in December 2023. Her release made headlines across the world. Now in her early 30s, Gypsy has embraced her newfound independence. She quickly became active on social media, reconnecting with fans and supporters who had followed her story. Her presence online has been a mix of advocacy, personal updates, and candid reflections on her past. In 2022, while still incarcerated, Gypsy married Ryan Anderson, a teacher from Louisiana. However, their relationship soon became strained, and after her release, she announced their separation. Shortly thereafter, Gypsy rekindled a past relationship with Ken Erker, a man she had been engaged to prior to marrying Ryan. In 2024, Gypsy announced that she was pregnant with her first child with Ken, marking a new chapter in her life. She has expressed her hopes to provide her child with the stable, loving upbringing that she was denied. The legacy of the case. The story of Gypsy Rose Blanchard continues to captivate public attention, not only because of the shocking murder, but because of the complex layers of abuse, manipulation, and survival it reveals. Her case has highlighted the devastating effects of Munchausen by proxy and underscored the importance of vigilance by medical professionals, educators, and communities. Gypsy's journey from victim to accomplice to advocate remains one of the most unique and tragic crime stories of the 21st century. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the life and case of Gypsy Rose Blanchard. If you found this episode insightful, please like, subscribe, and share it with others who follow true crime stories. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you never miss a new upload. And remember, if there's a case that you'd like me to explore in detail, please reach out and request it. It might just be the next episode that we cover. Until next time, stay safe and keep questioning the stories that lie beneath the surface.